On the menu today, how about a Chihuahua for scale?
Fractic is going to show me the new Raspberry Pi 400.
Welcome. Not that kind of pie. Sorry you can't eat it. Oh, hello chip dippers. Welcome to Retro Recipes. Fractic here, your friend in retro, and of course Puppyfractic. Now if you saw that recent video about the time traveler, you'll know that here at Retro Recipes we usually focus on things a little more retro. I mean, he did have a time-traveling IBM 5100 with him, after all. But today, not only are we looking at something a little different, but we're time-traveling again because you're actually watching next Saturday's episode right now. And the reason for that is a very well-known tech company got in touch and asked if we'd like to have a look at their brand new top-secret product for which the review embargo was lifted, well, about 30 seconds ago. And that new product is the Raspberry Pi 400 personal computer kit. It's a Raspberry Pi 4, a new style of one, integrated directly inside a computer keyboard for an all-in-one solution. And we're waiting for it to arrive right now. Now, as you know, I prefer to use original hardware. You can see a lot of it behind me. But to be fair, there are situations where using an emulator does have certain advantages. But I'm not really, I'm not excited to get this brand new bit of tech gadgetry. I'm really not. It's him! It's here! Come on! Come on! Get the lizard. Gotcha. Say bye to the lizard. And here it is. I'm actually really excited to see what this looks like. Of course, I've opened the back. Whoa. That is really sleek. And actually this is a lot heavier than I imagined. Personal computer kit, Raspberry Pi 400. Meet Raspberry Pi 400, your complete personal computer built into a compact keyboard, just like a Commodore 64. And they tell me this kit is going to retail for $99, which is obviously incredible value. And then we've got some more detailed specs. You can pause the video if you want to see those. But I just want to open this. So, why can't I open it? Oh, there we go. There it is. That is pretty neat. Oh, I love the color as well. Now, I might try and change this up in a minute to something a bit more retro, but wow. So, build quality wise, I don't know if you noticed there is a slight curvature. I don't know if that's intentional. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say it is an ergonomic design, because it does sit quite flat. But yeah, let's try typing. That is as solid as you would hope. Enter key, yeah, slightly spongy, 5% off being perfect. For $99 for the whole kit, I mean this thing alone I think is going to be a lot less. I'll put the price just here, but yeah, for the money, more than good enough. Before we delve into the box, let's look. Yeah, we've got the GPIO pins. We've got our SD card. It's pretty good. It comes with a 16 gig SD card built in. I've actually ordered a 512 gigabyte one, which you'll see the reason for that in a minute. Mini HDMI, so that's the dual display output. USB-C power, which is nice. 2 USB 3 ports. Ethernet network output there, although it has got Wi-Fi on board. Whoops. And then you've got your number lock caps and power indicators at the top there, and a Raspberry Pi key. Now, obviously, Raspberry Pi have made keyboards before, but they would be USB and you'd plug them into the Raspberry Pi. So this, I am fascinated by this. We have got a banana for scale, just so you can see how big this thing is. But instead of a banana for scale, how about a chihuahua for scale? So she's testing the keyboard. Can we just talk about this face? We're borrowing this little acquisition from a family member who's under the weather at the moment. But what a cutie pie. This is Ladyfractic. Thank you for giving us a chihuahua for scale. No, you can stay there if you want. So, moving on. So we've got a power supply, official mouse, very nice, and what is this? That's pretty decent, look at that. Very hefty beginner's guide. How to use your new computer. Learn how to set up, start coding, experiment with connecting components. And we also get an HDMI cable in the box, micro SD card to regular size adapter. This is a mouse. Have you ever seen a mouse or just a cat? The keyboard is made in the UK and the mouse is manufactured in China. Speaking of China, let's bring Ladyfractic in. She's not Chinese, but she will probably want to mention our lovely sponsor for this video as well. So, over to her.
Hello Chip Dippers, Ladyfractic here, and Perryfractic is going to show me the new Raspberry Pi 400.
Ooh. Upside down. Da, 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 da.
Just kidding, not edible.
Not a real raspberry.
Or a pie. I actually love this shade of red. It is like the perfect raspberry color, like what you think of a raspberry beret. As you know, Perryfractic is colorblind, so this is...
It's a lovely shade of purple.
No, this is purple.
It's a lovely shade of pink. Pinkle.
Alright, I think it looks really sleek. It's pretty cool. Oh, I see they're using USB-C. I appreciate that. And an Ethernet cable. I wish we could go back to dial-up. Just kidding. No, I don't. Alright, should I crack into this part?
Yeah.
I would unscrew it because I'm the specialist, but there are no screws.
I've provided you a handy-dandy case cracking tool, but it's actually a Lego's brick separator.
I actually had one of these as a kid, and it really, really saved my fingers because some of the pieces would get stuck together.
I bet you were bricking it.
I'll brick you in a minute. So insert. Ooh. Oh, those are good cracks, not bad cracks. It's like at a chiropractor. They don't actually want you to see inside. It's proprietary information. Oh, well, look at that. There we go. Some riveting. They're just Phillips screws. And underneath is the PCB. And if you want to make your own PCB, you could join our friends at PCBWay, where PCB stands for Printed Circuit
Pi Keyboard.
Pi Keyboard. Yeah, but a keyboard starts with the letter K.
Oh.
PKB way. Screwdriver. Screwdriver. Banana for scale. Screwdriver. She said no. Alright. Let's remove this. We've got this. We've got heart. Is that like heatsink tape?
It's a heatsink, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the processor. I'll leave that on there.
Excellent.
And the big metal shield is a huge heatsink.
Big metal shield. And look at that.
Wow. I actually thought it would be a Raspberry Pi in there with some
like
wires
a
going
little
to the
tiny
ports. But they've actually built a whole new PCB in some way.
actually really aesthetically pleasing. And this one's quite nice. You use this to type. Just kidding. Yeah, look at that ribbon cable. And then that, obviously it's going to be facing this way, goes bloop right into there.
Well, Ladyfractic, I think you've done a tremendous job. I'd like to thank you on behalf of all chip dippers.
Namaste.
Well, she said namaste, but apparently she couldn't stay. Oh well. I know. You're here. You're all I need. Okay, we're European. Now, before we give it a test drive, I did mention making it look a bit more retro. Now, due to the last-minute deadlines with this review and the review embargo, I don't have time to actually physically change this unit, but I thought it might be fun to show some kind of renderings of what I would like this to look like, maybe in Commodore 64 or VIC-20 or other retro computer stylings. So with thanks to Matt Ricardo, who you saw in a previous episode helped us re-render those Worms Amiga cutscenes into HD, let's take a look at how this might look. Look out! Yeah, I'm sure we'll revisit that idea soon if the rest of the retro community doesn't beat me to it. But back to real life, let's see what this puppy can do. No, it's not Puppy. We're going to install RetroPie on it. Good old RetroPie. And to make a little space, let's temporarily move the Commodore Music Maker that I used to make all the channel theme tunes on to a new home. Hint, hint, it's right behind me. Oh, you like that, huh? Don't worry, I'm not a dog, but look at this. It booted straight up into the desktop. So this really is a ready-made, ready-to-go computer. Now, regular Raspberry Pi isn't what I want to do, but I will just go through this really quickly so you can see what happens. Click Next. Where am I? UK? Maybe I heard my accent. I am in the US and A. Now it's going to connect to the Wi-Fi, and it's going to update the OS. And we're now set up and ready to go. So would you believe it? I've never used Raspberry Pi OS before. We can go to our web browser, media player, image viewer, little accessories. Let's try the web browser for speed. Or lack of. Let's try that again. So a little quicker second time. Fast enough. And there's our file browser. So it isn't the quickest computer in the world. Obviously, the web browsing was a little bit slow to load, but it is a $70 computer. However, I'm not here for the Raspberry Pi OS. I want to do something a little different. Because this is that 512 gig SD card that I mentioned earlier. And I'm going to copy a very cool Omega Drive themed RetroPie setup onto there. It was all going so well. RetroPie won't recognize any controller or even the keyboard. Well, to cut a 2-day troubleshooting story short, I reckon that although this is essentially a Raspberry Pi 4, this new revision 6 hardware is just incompatible with some software. But the good news is I took my findings to both Raspberry Pi and Jules Wills, the lead RetroPie developer, and kudos to them because they worked together on a really tight deadline to update RetroPie for us all to enjoy by adding a Pi 400 version to their website. And even though I can't use this keyboard to update my version here, I SSH'd in via my home network and was able to do an apt-get firmware update to my existing RetroPie image. You can do the same at home on yours. All of which means I can finally show you this all-in-one computer emulator fully working. Well, not only have we got a lot of lovely machines to choose from, but the first thing I'm noticing is how much I love being able to just control this with a keyboard. Now, to be fair, you'd usually just use the joystick for this, but it's good to have options, as they say. I don't have to worry about plugging in a USB keyboard or using a Bluetooth one. The cursor keys just work, so that is the first really nice thing about this setup. And we get a little preview of each game as we scroll through them. Let's try an old favourite, R-Type. It's booting up and... Oh, I guess I have to configure something. I've obviously missed something in the configuration there, but we're not here for the same old computers that we always show on this channel, especially Commodore stuff, although you can see a quick preview of all of the games here. Arkanoid, for example. But to test playing games with that keyboard, let's try something on the Atari 2600, perhaps the worst game ever made. I'm just kidding, we won't really. I didn't think that game was that bad though. But since we recently did a very cool video exposing that Easter egg in Pitfall 2, let's take Pitfall Harry for a quick jog and test out that keyboard. Does it really have to rub it in with the mournful music? Try again. Come on. Alright, over the scorpion, over the hole. It's all coming back to me. And still a little frog, easy to jump over. And... it's obviously got a bug. Well, while we're here, let's try something a little more exotic. or Vectrokic? No, never mind. Speaking of exotic, I wonder how a virtual reality game, albeit a 90s one, looks on RetroPie. Well, you get the general idea with that. Now, how about the good old Specky? We don't look at that nearly enough on this channel. Sadly, it's missing Attic Attack. I'm going to have to load that in. But let's try Ant Attack. Pretty close. Now, I really want to be a girl. Don't tell Ladyfractic. But the keyboard isn't working. Now, actually, there are two different emulators, and there is one that is designed for joysticks and one that's better for programming and keyboard use. Now, if I hadn't spent 2 days trying to fix the problem with getting this working at all, I would have had time to do that, but I'm sure the keyboard would work. And somehow we're back to Arkanoid again, this time on the Apple IIe or Apple II. Albeit it's expecting analog joystick input, so I can only move to 3 positions. But again, I'm sure that's configurable in the software. I'll let you guys play around with all that to your heart's content. As for me, the thing that would make my heart content would be to really test out this keyboard integration in this Raspberry Pi to see if this really can simulate a full Commodore 64. Yeah, I know, it always comes back to Commodore for me. Now I noticed that the keyboard couldn't emulate the run stop key, so I had to pop up this virtual keyboard. But I know that you can create key maps, and I have no doubt that either me or the community will probably create a key map for the Raspberry Pi 400. So there it is. And what do I think of it? Well, she quite loves it. May I, Adam? Thank you. I mean, there is no getting away from the fact that this is perhaps the only fully integrated plug-and-play solution at this price, $70 for this alone. And it definitely has appeal for retro computing too. I mean, until now we've had a bevy of handheld devices like this, but they always pose that problem when you need to press a certain key in the emulator or in the game, let alone for basic programming. Yeah. Oh yeah, well we have had machine-specific solutions like the C64 and the ZX Spectrum Next, which are fantastic, but of course they only emulate one machine. But we've never had a all-in-one device that can emulate everything for $30 less than this. Now obviously for that money it's not going to be perfect and it can't really compete with your main computer for speed or build quality, but it is pretty bloody good, and I'm really excited to have everything set up in such a tidy, neat little package ready whenever I need it. And based on that, Retro Recipes gives the Raspberry Pi 400 complete computer kit 4.5 chips out of 5. You can look at the description for the link to purchase yours now. It's available this very second. And let me know in the comments what you think of the Pi 400. Well, all this talk of pie and chips has made this Brit rather hungry, so I'll leave you to it. Until next time, thanks for watching, subscribe and support below, and cheerio. Come on, supper time, let's go.
Oh, that was almost my eyeball.